I thank the Florida legislature and Governor DeSantis for passing this legislation that allows us to put traffic cameras on school buses.
Because we need our drivers to understand that with just 2 weeks before the start of school, we need to ramp up awareness so that our students can get to and from school each day without incident.
Interestingly enough, the law requires a 30-day education period. We are going to provide more than a 60-day education period before we start writing citations.
This last year, we had an unprecedented number of student fatalities due to vehicular and pedestrian issues, due to automobile accidents, and it's just a reality that, unfortunately, in our community, we continue to grow. That means we have more drivers on the roads, there's more opportunities for drivers to be distracted on the road, and we need to take every single step possible to ensure the safety of our children as they travel to and from school each day. To my knowledge, only one student last year was struck as a result of somebody illegally passing. They hit their brakes very, very quickly. They didn't realize the bus had stopped. They veered off, but there were students already exiting the bus. The rest are pedestrian vehicular issues.
And what area was that?
But last school year, as we collected data for this proposal, we had over 400 instances where drivers, our bus drivers, reported that somebody had unsafely passed the school bus after it had stopped. Yeah, let me clarify a little bit further. There were actually more reported instances. However, we recognize that a driver may be reporting someone as they see the car passing as the stop arm's coming out. So we kind of cut the number in half. So that's the number I shared with you.
When I went to the Florida Department of Education, this was the most recent illegal school bus passing survey I could find. I went ahead and spliced it so you could see what each column represents, and I highlighted the row for Polk County. You can see there's a total of 412 participating drivers. The total amount of illegal passes on this survey is 1,100. And then we skip over to the green column here. You can see that 818 of those illegal passes came from vehicles approaching the bus towards the front, meaning they most likely had a cut-off perception reaction time because you have 2 points closing on to one another. Now, you divide that by the total number of illegal passes, you have about 74% of your illegal passes coming from vehicles on the approach. I'll go ahead and put a link into lesson 1 and 2 in the description so you can understand a little bit more about how it cuts you off. But I believe this is what they're talking about. The arm just being thrown out and cutting people off, and that's why they tailored the survey results.
We don't want to give you a traffic citation. Just stop for the school bus. So this is going to be a system where if you get a notice in the mail that you have this citation and you go, I don't remember running that, you can click on the link and watch that and you'll go, oh, there's no doubt about this. Run a stop school bus with the lights out, then you're going to be fined.
To answer your question pretty precisely, the cameras only turn on once the school bus stops and the stop arm comes fully out. That's the system activates, and then it captures cars illegally passing that stopped school bus.
But keep this in mind, that we will review every one of these traffic citations or these camera views that come to us. If a bus driver has made a mistake and short-stopped a car, that person won't get the citation. The deputy has the unilateral authority to say, no, they weren't given the appropriate time to stop for that sign. It was impossible for them to stop, and they won't be cited. And a tie goes to the motorist, okay?
If the school bus only records when it is stopped and the stop arm is out, then how can an officer tell if you were cut short on the full amount of a yellow flashing light notice?
Certainly, the law says if you're on a 4-lane divided highway with a raised median and you're going in the opposite direction, you don't have to stop. If it is a grass median and you're going in the opposite direction, you don't have to stop. If it's a painted median and a flat road, you do have to stop. Now, the policy of the school board, which I totally support, is we don't let children off on one side of the road and expect them to walk across 5 lanes of traffic, even though there's no grass or raised median. But the law says you have to stop.
Senator Kelly.
Follow up with an isn't that so question to say that when my beloved stepson brought one of these very expensive tickets home, we went to go look at the road to see if it was divided because I was sure it would be, and in fact it was, except for like maybe a 10-foot gap where there was no median, which is where the bus stop was located. Isn't that so?
Wow. Clever. All right.
Lots of anecdotes here.
Now, Florida is a unique situation. You guys have a massive amount of tourism. You have a transitional population. So we understand that those percentages, although they're national and we see them all throughout the country in different areas, they're not going to exactly pertain to Florida. So it's going to be interesting to see over the first couple of years how that decreases over time. So if the change of driver behavior, you'll see it in the people that live in your community every day. You will see that. There will be some adjustment with the tourism and things like that we'll see different percentages.
Here is a possible solution. Perhaps your local city, Polk County, and state engineers should be notified where school bus stops are so they can put up adequate signage for people not from the area. If they're leaning on high citations coming from transient or out-of-town drivers, people not from the community, it means your roads are not adequately marked.
So is there a compensation that then the sheriff's office receives from the citation, like percentage-wise? Can you maybe give some details on that?
IGA conversations with them?
Yep, sure can. Mm-hmm. So when the violation is paid, the top bit goes to the Department of Health. Is that correct? The top $25. So they get $25 off the top. The other $200, Verra Mobility gets a $49 per incident package fee, and then the rest would come to the school district. As far as the sheriff's office, what we're doing with them is we're paying them time to spend reviewing the violations. So we've worked up a per hour cost. And the first year is going to be really crucial, trying to figure out how many deputies need to be assigned to do this, and is it even a full year job? Because during the summertime, there will be minimal violations. During the start of a school year, there's going to be a lot. So by doing it on a per hour basis, we don't have to say we're going to assign 2 deputies. We've got to pay for those 2 deputies all the time. They're just going to put in the labor that they need per time and then send us a bill, and then that would come out of that.
Okay.
That's correct. The citations go into a fund, and it pays for the cost and the maintenance to operate the system. There has to be a deputy to review the citation. When Verra Mobility captures it, they send it to us. We review it. We say it's good to go, issue a citation. That costs money. There's infrastructure costs for the cameras and maintenance costs for 500 buses. So the goal here is not a money grab at all. And it's very limited how the money can be spent to prohibit such a money grab.
My interpretation of the law is that it only restricts and details how the school's portion of the revenues are spent.
But it's also important to understand if one of our deputies, irrespective of the red light camera on the school bus stop sign, I'm sorry, not the red light, but the camera on the stop sign of the school bus, that deputy can still give you a citation. And obviously, we won't give you one with the camera and one from the deputy, but the one from the deputy costs more. So it's a discounted, if you will, traffic citation if the camera writes it.
Yes, sir.
We need a team to make these things work. Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
bring us up to date.
Well, since we deployed it, we have some statistics that we were provided through Bus Patrol, and we're now utilizing Traffic Enforcement Unit, which is our motorcycle unit. There's 6 of us out there, including me, and we're deploying to some of the local hotspots that Bus Patrol has identified, and we've been out there since yesterday. We started, and so far with high visibility, hopefully that will prevent more violations in the future. If we wind up getting you, it is more of a severe punishment than if Bus Patrol gets you. If one of the officers stop you for violating that bus stop arm, the driver's looking possible 60-day suspension on the driver's license, $250 fine, and 5 points added to their driver's license if they're convicted of that violation of passing.
An officer stop.
That's if an officer stops. On Bus Patrol, I believe it's just a $300 civil penalty designed to curb the behavior. So we're out there being deployed in those areas along Knights Road and Route 13. They've been identified as hotspots, and we're hoping to change the behavior out there.
Will the Sheriff's Office and school district choose to publicly release the data locations of high citation spots, or use it as a target list for officers to issue higher cost tickets?